What is it, a parade?
Funeral. A fighting Tong. They're Chang Sings.
A fighting Tong?
Don't panic, Jack. They're okay. They're good guys.
Maybe we should try a different alley. What do you say? Wang, these guys, these Singdings.
Chang Sings.
They got enemies?
Wing Kong.
Who wear red turbans.
Holy shit! These guys are animals, Jack.
Feels like one of our guys finally got it, doesn't it? This doesn't feel like a Katy Perry in space or some rich thing that was just done. You know, not that that's all bad either. I mean, whatever. You want to go to space and you got the money to do it, go to space, just pay your taxes. But for me, it's like this. Carpenter feels like one of us. Like he feels like, doesn't it? It feels like.
Yeah, I think that all the abuse he's tolerated over the years and disrespect, I think that's what it is. He's sort of like, he shouldn't be, but he is kind of an underdog in a way because of how poorly he was treated, especially making The Thing, how bad he was treated by critics when that movie came out. So,
well, like I said, I've been looking at Siskel and Ebert reviewing these old movies, and it was interesting to see that one of them liked Escape from New York and one didn't. One liked Escape from LA and thought the whole thing was just a fucking parody.
Right.
And one didn't. And so he actually, in some ways, was liked more than I remember by critics because those guys were kind of the definitive people when we were kids. They were on TV.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I caught the end of their whole thing, but I totally remember. And then when you switched over to Ebert and Roper, I'm like, who's this other guy? You know,
who is this?
Had to put somebody in there, but not the gravitas of Gene Siskel. You know,
I don't know what Carpenter felt about those guys because obviously Siskel is a character at the end of They Live. You know, when he's like,
"Oh yeah,
so much violence." So that's kind of like,
kind of are, they're
which is classic.
On him.
Classic,
it's cool.
And I actually think one of those guys is Jeff Amata. Actually, they all might be Jeff Amata at the end of They Live. I don't know. Somebody on the internet will correct me. Undoubtedly, I feel empowered to correct me. But anyway, it's kind of good to see. Like looking back, I realized that. I don't know what Gene Shalit or these other high octane critics who, I mean, sometimes we had a conversation that sometimes it's cooler just to criticize and it's easier to be a critic and be critical than to sort of describe the element you like about a thing. That's what we were saying also a moment ago about Big Trouble in Little China. Why do we love it? Yeah. Well, I'd have a hard time explaining other than the fact the fucking thing is just fun. It's ridiculous from start to finish. But it is so fun.
Egg Shen, David Lopan, it's... Yeah. All the characters, like Kim Cattrall in that movie. Yeah.
And I remember for a charity standpoint, my first meeting with the Tongs in Chinatown was like a late night thing where they closed a restaurant to meet. And you had to walk through their office is adjoined, one of them, to the classic tourist plaza. So it's all lit up, but it's totally empty. And a guy walks you to the restaurant for the meeting, and you go into the meeting, and they're like the only guys at the table in the place, other than the waiters that are in a line waiting to hear what you want. And I remember going in there and feeling like it was Big Trouble in Little China. And one of the guys, but one of the guys actually like parodied it, like made a joke of it, probably seeing, this guy's only reference to our culture is probably Big Trouble in Little China and or Bruce Lee. Like they totally were comically dismissive at first as an icebreaker. It's very different than when you meet the Yakuza. downtown, they have a completely different protocol than the Tongs. The Tongs really like privacy, and so does the Yakuza. But when you go to meet the Yakuza, the moment you're in their neighborhood, they take responsibility for you. And if they call the meeting, they'll speak English. If you call the meeting, even though they can speak English, they'll speak Japanese through a translator to you. And I'm not sure where that comes from or why, but anyway, so
It's
the
just
Tongs,
deference, kind of. I think this whoever you're kind of like, yeah,
yeah. So the Tongs whole thing is like a big trouble. This guy only knows us from big. He's like, what are we gonna do? We're not gonna have any like magic, fight. Peter Kwan, by the way, said he did that entire movie, and on like the last day of production, he and Dennis Dunn are doing that flying fight scene for a couple days, I think, or whatever. And they land, and Dunn does that thing with his eyebrows where he's like,
yeah.
and Peter said, he's like, I was horrified because that's when I realized this whole time we had been making a comedy. He's like, I would have played the entire movie differently. I thought we were making a straightforward action movie. And when Dennis did that, I was like, oh my God, I've acted this entire movie wrong. And he thought his career was over from it. Little
It
did he
works
know.
though.
Little
He
did
shouldn't. Yeah, he shouldn't have been. I mean, like, I think that's what makes it funny and makes it work. It's like not everybody can be funny in a comedy.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
people to play the straight person, or you need to be serious or whatever. And yeah, the storms are such a cool part of that movie, and they actually inspired like Raiden in Mortal Kombat. Like all those
Oh yeah.
characters, came from the storms in Big Trouble. So it's really cool.